This is the Patek Philippe 5396G015 annual calendar, and it is a complicated watch by Patek, hiding something very extravagant in a plain sight. So in this video, I'll be answering the most common questions about this watch, like how does it wear, how many complications are there really, and many more. So after watching this video, you will know everything you need to know about this watch and whether or not this would make it into your collection. At the end, I will also be adding my likes and dislikes. So now that we are set, let's get started with this review. This Patek has a diameter of 38.5 millimeter, a height of 11.2, and a lug to lug of 46.8 millimeter. As you can see, this is a full-on rose gold case made from 18 karat gold in one of the classic Patek case shapes. Everything on the case is polished, including the sides, and attached to it with a quick change system, which I really like, is this brown alligator strap that closes in a solid rose gold single fold clasp with Patek's classic Calatrava cross on it. The bezel is slightly stepped in to create a bit more dimension on the case, and the flattened crown on the right side follows the lead by flowing with the case without sticking out too much. The lugs curve down slightly, having an almost teardrop-like shape to them, but remain rather chill, to keep within the very classic and tame look of the entire watch. The dial has this very warm midnight blue color with a subtle sunburst. Packed into the dial are numerous complications, like the day. I've got a month right below the logo at 12, a moon phase at 6 with a 24-hour indicator around it with this circular engraving, or the date at 6 right below that. The hands are classic solid gold sword hands for the minute and hour hands, and the minute markings themselves are basically these little golden dimples that are completed by probably one of my favorite styles of hour markers I have seen in a long time. Those are baguette cut diamonds set in gold that are shockingly inconspicuous at first, but when you take a closer look, they really take your breath away. The automatic caliber 26330 SQALU 24-hour is visible through the case back with a power reserve of at least 35 hours according to Patek, but we'll talk about in detail about that in a minute. All of this is waterproof up until 30 meter, but please do not ever take a watch like that swimming. There is one set price to this watch as it has been discontinued, but currently it goes on the grey market for about $50,000 depending on what kind of offer you find online. So now that we have the hard facts down, we need to look at the overall wearability, because at the end of the day, I guess that's the most important part about a watch. So let's have a look, shall we? As you can see here on my 145 millimeter wrist, this 38.5 millimeter diameter watch still wears relatively okay in terms of size, which is due to the relatively short lug to lug of only 46.8 millimeter. With that, I can absolutely recommend this watch for wrists, perhaps even a bit smaller than mine, but no smaller than 13.5 centimeter, I would say, if you don't want the lugs to stick out too much. Since this is also a comparatively flat watch, it easily slips under the shirt sleeve, so we are in classic dress watch territory here in terms of wear and size. Also, the edges are smooth on this watch, which adds to the overall comfortability of the watch, and that paired with the soft alligator strap makes this one, an overall very, easygoing one in terms of wear. For those wondering about the lightweightness about the watch, it still very much has a felt, let's put it that way, presence on your wrist thanks to the solid gold case, so you can still feel it when wearing it if you're being concerned about that. In terms of looks, I would say that this is one of the more contemporary or modern looking Patek dress watches with the, compared to other complicated Pateks, airy and symmetrical dial layout and the contrasting colors of the blue and the rose gold case and hands. I would not go as far and say that this is a super casual dress watch for everyday use, but perhaps I would put it into the category of a casual watch for Patek, where people wouldn't be overly confused when someone would wear this with jeans and a t-shirt, because as I've mentioned, the overall design feels very modern for a Patek, so I think you can just get away with it. So we have covered the hard facts and the wearability, so it's time to focus our attention on the heart and soul of the watch, the movement. Since this is from the category complicated watches from Patek, it comes with a list of complications like a day, you've got a date, a month, a moon phase, and a 24-hour indicator. This is all powered by the in-house caliber 26330 SQALU 24-hour, which is able to show the correct date for different length months, so either 30 or 31 days, and only needs to be set or corrected once a year at the end of February due to the leap year cycles. It's your typical Patek movement with a high standard finishing. You get the Genevan stripes, the solid gold rotor with the Calatrava cross. Each edge on each bridge is beveled, and you sometimes get a glimpse of perlage finishing on some parts. And according to Patek, the power reserve has a minimum of 35 hours and a maximum of 45, depending on how much you wind it. And it beats with a frequency of 28,800 hertz. If you are unsure about the moon phase, you can hop onto the Patek website and check the moon cycle for any date you want. By the way, that also works obviously if you have another watch with a moon phase. It's always a nice tip, I think, that you can just go onto the Patek website and see exactly where the moon is right now. Oh, and do not worry, while you have to set the calendar once every year, the moon phase only needs to be set every 122 years. Okay, so now that we have a pretty good picture of what this watch is all about, I am quickly going to add my likes and dislikes as promised in the beginnings. First, let's get the things out of the way that are really my cup of tea. And I'm actually surprised here because usually, being completely honest, I am not the biggest fan of Patek watches. Don't get me wrong. I think Patek makes some amazing watches, but usually they do not really speak to me in terms of design, or let's say it's just mostly not something I would personally put on my wrist because I think they wouldn't really suit me, which is why I'm actually really surprised to say that there's nothing really about this watch that I dislike. It feels great. It wears comfortably. I love the dial layout, and the movement is a knockout, not only by its looks, but also, thanks to its specs. And I guess the only downside, if you can even call it that, to it is that it still feels very much like a very masculine watch. So this still wouldn't be something that I would personally wear or feel comfortable wearing it on a daily basis. But other than that, I have mentally filed this into my top 5 Patek watches folder, which brings me directly to the things I really like about this watch. Well, first and foremost, I love how, even though this is an annual calendar with the moon phase, there's still room enough to breathe on the dial. It is not crammed, and every application has enough space to be readable. I think sometimes Patek has this problem of cramming too much into a dial. I'm also loving the baguette hour markers. Usually a baguette cut isn't my favorite cut in a diamond, but it works so well as hour markers. And then adding those solid gold prongs that hold them just makes it even more interesting to look at. I don't really know how to put this. I mean, you first look at the dial and think, yeah, it looks great and classy, whatever. It's a Patek. Then you discover that those are actual diamonds as hour markers and not some like solid gold sticks. And it's just a really cool surprise, I think. And if I remember correctly, I think Tim also said this about the watch, which made me laugh a bit. He put it very nicely because it was something I couldn't quite put my finger on at first. And so I think this watch was so cool. But he said that it appears that, or it seems that men in general seem to have less of a problem with diamonds on watches when they're on the inside of the dial instead of outside. And I think he's spot on here. And I think, I don't know, this watch is so interesting. It's a full-on diamond, like a baguette cut diamond hour marker watch, but so like flying under the radar with this, and I just really love it. And so here we have it, everything you need to know about this Patek Philippe annual calendar, what to look out for in terms of wearability and comfort, and generally what to expect when it comes to the movement. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this one, I recommend subscribing to my channel so you won't miss out when I post a new video. And that is all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, and then I will see you in my next one.